Kia ora koutou. We're going to make a start. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, te hei mauri ora. So welcome everybody to the meeting. I wanted to particularly mention our guests at the back there, Clarence and Jamila. Our audit director and audit manager. Thank you for being in attendance. And we have Janine here also to answer any questions that come up. We'll start first by just indicating who's here in the chamber. So we have Councillor Cookson, Councillor Hughes, myself, and online we have Ben Dunbar-Smith online. We also have Warren Maher online, Jennifer Nichol and Noel Smith. I think that's our lineup. And so we do, in fact, have a forum. And we have Graham. Oh, sorry. And we also have Graham Naylor online. Thank you, Graham, for being here. So we'll start, first of all, with the confirmation of the agenda. Before we get to that, I do know, we've got to do the apologies. So we do have a good number of apologies here. I believe we have an apology from our chair, Pamela Story. We have an apology from Mikhail Downard and also for Angela Strange. Would somebody like, and Clyde Graff. So would somebody like to move that those apologies be accepted? Councillor Hughes, thank you. And a seconder. Councillor Cookson, all those in favour? Aye. So that's covered off. And now the agenda itself. So would somebody like to confirm that we proceed with that agenda? Councillor Hughes, thank you. Councillor Cookson, all those in favour? Aye, that was quick. Okay. Now we do need to consider disclosures of interest. Is there anybody who wish to indicate a declaration of interest at this point? I'm hearing silence around me. I think we're all in that boat, aren't we? Pretty well. Okay, so I think we can move on from that and we can move to the body of the reason for our meeting today, which is the adoption of the 2022-23 annual report and annual report summary. So we have a resolution already up on screen, and I'm wanting to see if there's a mover and a seconder for that. So we have a mover from Councillor Cookson and a seconder. Oh, you beat him to it, did you? I'm sorry. I didn't notice you. You're in the corner, you know, that famous corner where the chair never sees you. Okay, so yeah, all in favour?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councillor Smith, you wanted to make a comment?
Yeah, just a question. I raised an issue with the Chief Executive yesterday. Did you have a response before the because once this is put and adopted, there's no place for that question.
Okay, so do you want to reply?
Yes, through Mr. Chair. Thanks, Councillor Smith. So Councillor Smith had raised with me that he thought it would be appropriate to include in the report a map of the region with the constituency boundaries and the current councillors for the year that the annual report was done. I'll pass to Janine to explain why it's been done in the way it has and what the recent history has just been. I did seek clarification from Councillor Smith whether he was requesting that given that we went over an election term, whether all councillors, all 22 councillors should be included, and he felt no, it would only be, I understood it right, Councillor Smith, you felt it would only be the current sitting ones who are actually involved in the adoption of the report?
Absolutely. The reality, if I can just speak to it, Chris, was I've seen elsewhere many councils include a depiction of the constituent councillors in the areas they represent. And as I said to you in my email, it's not the Pamela and Chris show. You are supported equally by 13 other councillors. And so I felt it was appropriate that we reflect the entire council in some way in the report. So thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors. So through the chair, the point that Councillor Smith is raising, I guess if we go back to documents prior to the 2021 long-term plan and inclusive of that plan, all of those documents had included the information that Councillor Smith is referring to. There was a change in approach for all of the documents that we have produced since that time, which has been an attempt to simplify the amount of information that goes out as part of both our statutory plans and reports to information that is required just to streamline those documents. And so that has seen for those plans and annual reports since that information not being included. Certainly if it is the will of council to insert that graphic again, so the map of the region and the current standing councillors, that's no issue. It does not upset the process today. It may just change some page numbering in the audit opinion, which the audit team need to confirm anyway. So in the hands of elected members in terms of what they wish to include in the document in that regard.
Thank you. So, Councillor Smith, do you have a response?
No need for further comments here. I think it's self-explanatory. We either acknowledge that there's 13 other councillors that contributed towards the success of the region, even for a short period, some of us. But I think it's a reflection of, for people who take the time to read this, to know who is actually their representative. So I'll leave it at that. I'm in the hands of the rest of fellow councillors. Thank you.
Okay, and Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Chair. In my view, simpler is easier and better, cheaper. As long as the councillors' names are recorded there somewhere, I don't think putting maps in there is going to add any value. People know who they're electing and where they come from. So, in my view, I'm happy to keep it as clean and simple as possible. Less clutter the better, because the number of people reading the report probably can be counted on two hands.
Yep. Thank you. Councillor Mahuta, you have a question or a statement?
Just on the matter, it is the start of this triennium. If they didn't know all the full body of councillors, this would be the report to put it in. Just to the as an information exercise for the small amount of the public that do read it, but from the excerpt from the annual report. Again, we are on the website, so I'm not too much, either way you achieve the outcome, but our names have to be in the report anyway, as part of the accountability. I just think if we're going to say we're the new team for the region, this is the report to put it in. No use by the end of the 3 years. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other comments from anybody? At the moment, yes, Councillor Cookson.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm on the fence with that. Actually, I understand both sides, but if we are here representing our communities, why aren't we mentioned in there or represented somehow? And I don't mean that we are just a member of the council. But I sort of do agree with Tipper and Noel a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering at this point whether or not we could just do a quick straw poll. I think it's worth doing because, as Janine has pointed out, it's not going to waste any time in getting to the point that we need to get to. So is anybody else, look, if you could put your hand up if you think you support Councillor Smith's idea. Could you, those online, could you put your hand up and we'll do a quick look?
Just through the chair, can I just clarify? So just to make sure everyone knows what they're going to be voting for. Councillor Smith's idea was to have a map of the region, constituencies and photos of councillors, if I understood that correctly, Councillor Smith.
Yes, yes.
I think the other proposition was put forward that could just be names, so that might be useful to clarify for your poll, so people know what they're voting for.
Yeah, so we'll take it as proposed by Councillor Smith, which was the map, the constituencies, the names and the photographs, is my understanding. So, yeah, if you support that, could you just indicate online, please, those people who are online? We'll just take a moment to check that.
Mr. Chair, I haven't used Teams like this, so I'm going to put my hand up and tell you I've got my hand up, because unless someone can tell me quickly how to do it.
So everyone online appears to support Councillor Smith's idea. I'll declare my interest. I've had a quick look after I heard of Councillor Smith's request. I had a quick look online and noticed that 2 of our adjoining councils do that, undertake that practice, Bay of Plenty and Taranaki. I do think it's a good idea because having looked at annual plans in other institutions, that is commonly the way it's done. So it looks to me that we should proceed along the lines that is recommended by Councillor Smith. Was that somebody speaking in the background? Stu, would you like to speak?
Oh, that was me. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm in support of that. Yeah, I was having trouble getting.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Can... Okay.
So I'm in support.
Okay, there's another in support. Okay, so I think we do have an indication there that the majority of councillors would like to see that happen. So thank you for that, raising that point, Councillor Smith.
Mr. Chair,
Now,
can I ask a question?
We do have the motion still up on the screen there. All right, who else is?
No.
Mr. Chair, do I need to move an amendment, or would the mover and seconder be prepared to include that in the motion, sir?
So
Yes, an action note is what we're discussing here, Councillor Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to include an action note in relation to that change, and that's been recorded. So we're going back to the motion. I'll just remind everybody that the motion has 3 parts to it. Make sure you've had a read of it. It's the adoption of the annual report and the summary. And it's there's also a comment in there pending any minor proofing and design changes, which I think covers us.
Yep.
And then the authorisation for the chair and the chief executive to sign the Audit New Zealand letters of representation for the annual report.
Yep.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, just before you ask it to be passed, I just wonder if it's useful to ask, are there any questions for the auditors, given that they're in the room, if they had any comment? I think, Janine, they will be talking to the next Risk and Assurance Committee on the matter.
yes, so through you, Mr. Chair, the audit management letter that we get off the back of the audit process always goes through the Risk and Assurance Committee. So there will be the opportunity, which highlights, I guess, any key findings through the audit process. So there will be an opportunity there for that committee to ask questions, but I guess there is the opportunity today with Clarence and Jay in the room, if elected members do have any questions around the audit process or the documents themselves, now would be an opportune time to do that.
Could I just ask into that process? Sorry, Councillor Mahuta online. Do we speak to the auditor by ourselves as we do in other organisations about any findings in the report, or is that done by the subcommittee?
So through the chair, normally those interactions happen through the Risk and Assurance Committee. If council wants some council only time with the auditors, then that is definitely doable. It hasn't been programmed in, but if you wanted to move into a council only session.
I just note that by now that would have happened. Given that it hasn't, then we should take that opportunity today, if this is the sign off of the audit.
So through you, Mr. Chair, we do have Graham Naylor here, who's the independent chair of the Risk and Assurance Committee. Maybe Graham's got some comment to make
Thank you.
on that in terms of the interactions that he's been.
I'm
Sorry?
totally supportive, Janine. I'm just making sure that we've given the audit opportunity to disclose to governors without management present whatever they need to, and that Graham also is able to disclose to council without management present anything that needs to. And it's not out of distrust, but it's a normal process about now. So when does that happen? Today?
Yes, so Graham, would you like to comment at this point?
Thank you, Chair. There's nothing that I'm aware of that I believe needs to be brought to the attention of councillors. And I've had 2 interactions with Clarence and Jay during the audit process, and management have not been present at those occasions, and they have not brought anything to my attention as the committee chair. And so at the moment, there's nothing that I'm aware of that councillors need to be aware of in considering this resolution.
So I'll just give you a chance
Thanks,
to Auditor Director Clarence, would you like to make a comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, as Graham said, we've been in contact with him, so everything that we needed to discuss with him, we did. There's nothing that I need to make council aware of that I think is inappropriate and should exclude management at the moment. The opinion that I'm issuing is an unmodified audit opinion, which means that we are satisfied that it complies with all New Zealand legislation and generally accepted accounting practice, as well as all the other DIA measures.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Councillor Mahuta, for raising that. Thank you, Graham and Clarence, for your confirmation. That gives us all comfort that we can take the next step. So I think we should move to...
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, go ahead.
No, sorry, did the auditor say qualified or unqualified opinion?
Unmodified.
Unmodified, thank you. That's good
Which
to know.
is an unqualified, which is a clear opinion.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of the terminology.
Thank you for that clarification too. Okay, so I think we are in a position now where we can put the motion, the 3-part motion. We have a mover in Councillor Hughes. We have a seconder in Councillor Cookson. All those in favour?
Aye.
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 I
I believe that's unanimous. Sounds unanimous to me. So thank you very much for your work on this, Janine. Thank you to our Audit Director and to Graham in relation to the Risk and Assurance Committee. And I think that's where we need to be. Who wants to do the Karakia? Pippa, did you have a question or not?
Thank you. Thank you for the meeting.
Okay. So do you want to handle that?
Yes, Chair, I'm happy to close the karakia. Ona hea mai te uru tapanui. Te wātea kia mama, te nākau, te tinana, te hinenaro. E te ari takatu. Koira rā e rongo, e whakaaria ake I runga, kia tina. Humi e, hui e, tai ki e.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.